Revealing John's Truthful Words, Part 12. Chapter 7, verse 18 is where I'm going to start. And let's see. All right. The last video stopped with these verses here that were just cleaned up. So we've got an idea that Jesus is answering them, that his teaching is from YHVH who sent me. No. Let's see here. Well, the word glory here is used differently than the word glory for our Creator. I've made sure that the word glory is taken out because we cannot glorify our Creator. But people who see or seek their own glory, that's a different glory. So I didn't want to confuse by having two words that would mean two different things. So here, they were seeking their own self-importance for their own, maybe afterlife, that people would still think of them that had passed away, that this was their own glory. So that's what Jesus is speaking about here. And like I said, had to change the word from carries to obeys. Yet none of you carries his law, carries out his law. You can't carry out. You can only obey our Creator's laws. Again, who seek to kill you, this just would not be, or is not needed in the text. I did one healing because that's what we're talking about here in this story. You have to go back a ways to understand this verse here, but it's one healing, and everyone was amazed. Well, all there was amazed. Well, I needed to add there was and change the word marvel to amazed. But this account, Moses has given you circumcision. Well, it wasn't Moses. It was our Creator that gave circumcision, and that was a statute, not because it was from Moses, but from the fathers. But see, that's the problem. That's not truthful either. So it just is from YHVH's statute, he told Abraham. And not the word male is correct, but they call him their son. There's certain times when the words change from baby to children to a son, and I'm believing this after they were weaned, that they were called sons and children, depending on how you wanted to say that. You could also say boys or girls. Boys and girls would be the younger, and then as they get older, then it's sons, because they were being married off by, say, from 13 to 16 years old. So we can't have the word if here. If a male receives circumcision on a holy day, well, then his law is not broken. Now, it says it may be broken, but that's wrong because it was a statute. They had to do it. So it was not broken. because it was a statute. And then Jesus is going to refer to because I healed a male on holy day as well, but they're going to complain here. Do not judge according to appearance. I changed it to judge anyone according to their appearance. Our Creator made everyone, so if you're complaining about somebody, say that they're ugly, well, you're complaining about how our Creator created that person. You should learn to hold your tongue back and understand that our Creator created everyone, and that's the way He wanted to create that person that you so unjustly call our Creator's work ugly. And some of our people in Jerusalem were asking, is he not a male we've been waiting for? Okay, that's because I don't know the full conversation of all the stories going on from before, even though it's only a couple hours ago. It's hard to, especially in John, to continue from exactly one story because they're so short. He was speaking publicly, and they said nothing to him, and the rulers did not really know that this is the Christ, do they? Oh, that this. Here they're putting in words that would be reflecting that this, meaning the title Christ. That's just wrong. They don't understand the concept of the word Christ. They're making it into something else. And here, Christ may come. No one knows where he is from. Well, sorry, all you had to do is read the Hebrew text, and you'll know that our Creator was to send him, his servant, his Holy One, his chosen one, uh, to have this kingdom in heaven. This is just not needed. Jesus told them. That's how simple that gets. Have I not come for I have not come for myself, for YHVH sent me, to whom do not know of me. This will be explained later when all the words get put together. It might even be self-descriptive by then, knowing what these words mean. So okay, I guess they added the word harass here. They went to seize him, but they were actually just harassing him. They didn't seize him. They don't seize Jesus until they're going to actually take him to Pilate or to Pontius. But not known male, changed it to one, did, but no one did. See, they were seeking therefore to seize him, but no one did. Let's see. Seeking to harass, but no one did. Yeah, because it can be seizing, but what his words were saying, they just backed off, is what this is coming down to. And why do I have these words highlighted like this? Forgot to fire this one up. Got the other computer here and just kind of should have had it fired up. I'm just looking to, wow, I haven't opened this one in a while. This is 731. Let me see here. Okay, 731. It seems I'm adding, did not believe him. The multitude believed him. So, so I got to kind of say that I added these words, did not. Because of the way it was, that if they did believe him, yeah, I can see what this was. Now, because the crowd was up here, they were seeking to harass him. You can't say all in the crowd believed him. So it has to be many in the crowd did not believe him. Okay. That's why I added those words there. Those were changed over. That's easy. Christ to King. That's easy. Pharisees and judges. Gee, I even have a new. Uh, hmm. I thought I had this all figured out. I just made a bunch of new pop-ups to explain Jesus' words and show you instead of me just telling you all the time. There it is at the bottom. Here, these are the verses that Jesus speaks about that defines a Pharisee is really a judge. They sit themselves in the seat of Moses, so they're judges. Okay, and then all these kind of add up to that. So, I sent their officers to arrest him. See, now this is where, um, uh, when you're trying to figure out what Pharisees are, here's the verse that they have their own officers. Well, they'd have to have their own judges to be able to arrest people. If they're like an off sect, something like what Sadducees are complained about as being as a off sect. I don't think I have. I guess I didn't do that yet. I've done some and I haven't done some. So let me see here in the Pharisee and then go here to show you. And you can see it's the same thing, a member of a Jewish sect. So um, I gotta get that as a pull up as well, just to show over here this meaning for that word, or they're trying to describe it as that. So or them as that. So um, back to here, and these officers would have been for the judges. The priests had their own officers. Example, the judges weren't with them when they went to arrest Jesus at the betrayal. So that means the priests had their own officers to be able to arrest people. Um, I'm not sure if the scribes did or that type of thing, but or those type of people. But I imagine the elders had theirs, just as able to control people. Um, You will seek me and not find me, and where I am, you cannot come. Except what Jesus is actually saying, uh, telling them how they're allowed to come. So this is Jesus again saying something stupid. So take that verse out. Here, the words Jews is being used again, but I'm not going to use it. They just said to one another, where did he intend to go? And that's because he's talking to the judges. Then our high priest sent their officers to him, so it was probably their officers and not Jews. Um, where does he intend to go that we cannot find him? And then this here, that's just not, that's just, when you're recording what people said about Jesus, you would not be remembering what these officers came up and tried to accuse him. You just sum it up that they came up. not that give them what they were thinking. All these verses are going to be gone. Here it's just to repeat that I've already said that I'm going to remove. On the last day of the great feast, Jesus stood up and cried out, "No, this, there's no story that says that." And I've got to take 2 minutes here, so let me. Sorry about sorry about that. I had things on the stove there. Didn't want to burn everything. Um, let's see. This would have been untrue. That's highlighted. Then Jesus says, what's he say? He says, "Believes in me, as the scripture said. From his innermost being shall flow a river of water of living water." So his innermost being shall flow rivers of living water. Well, sorry, that's not true. Anyways, I'm sure people try to make up something for that. No. And he spoke of, but now they're referring to what Jesus is meaning here by he spoke of the Spirit. So this is kind of like text that when you really read it, you're really trying to figure out what it means, but this is their trickery of words they're using here. So, who believe in him were to receive, for the Spirit is not yet given. That's no, this means until you have the practice of meditating with or sex with a so-called female goddess, then you'll know what this spirit is. Because Jesus was not yet glorified. See, that's what I mean. It was that he had not done this. Glorified is their key word here for female goddess, just as other words that like May or what is they use Mary, they use all the women's name as the female goddess. So, and then some were saying he was certainly a prophet. That doesn't matter because he wasn't teaching he was a prophet. Others saying he's the Christ. The title is not there. They wouldn't know him this way. Uh, he's not going to, Christ is not going to come from Galilee, is he? That just, no, this is all just wrong, wrong, wrong. See here, Scripture said the Christ come from offspring of David. No, or David. It was where David was born. But there was division among the multitude because of them. Some wanted to seize them, some laid their hands on them. Officers came. The high priest said, "Why did you not bring him?" The officer said, "No." Here, the officers that sent him. This is the conversation. When I said the officers had, where was that? Well, sent their officers to arrest him. And then when they did do this is what everybody else there is saying. And then they said the officers never did a man speak the way that this man speaks. But the problem here is they were told to go to arrest him. They would not have not arrested them. So that's just, no. Those words are, you just have to trust me on some of them like that I don't want to get into explaining what all their words and trickery is in the text. I'm sure one of them out there at some time might want to try to explain it to everybody and be honest about it. But I'm not going to get into that discussion unless I'm doing one-on-one when I'm talking to them in a debate or something. I changed to Pharisees to judges, as you know why. Pharisees to judges, and does not know the prophecies, not the law, but this crowd does not know the prophecies are cursed. Well, don't need that. They don't know the prophecies. They don't understand Jesus. Now, this is trying to make Nicodemus one of them, like as if he was a judge. And not one of his prophecies says we are not to judge him. I would have to look up what verse 50 here is saying without all my text in there. I've got that, but I don't want to, let me pull it up, I guess. Oh, right there. Easy. One that's all colored. John 7:31, so it's pretty close. So I was on 50, I think. Yep, there. Our law does not judge a man unless it first hears from him, unless they first hear from him and knows what he is doing, doesn't. So Nicodemus is going to say here, not one of his prophecies says we are not to judge him first. We should hear from him, and know why he is doing as he does. When I'm changing the word from law to prophecies, because the laws, when you see all the laws, I don't think there's one that says this statement that you're um, not to judge before you judge somebody else's. That's just kind of that's not a law. It's just part of um, understanding the commandments. Okay, so um, there's other verses that Jesus has said, but I'm trying to think of in the Hebrew side of the text of what this is, and I don't see that, or I just don't know right off hand what's that's true. So as a law, I know it's not in a law. Um, Laws are a judgment, um, a final judgment, the call type of thing. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do this. So the thing here is just to judge people. First, we should hear them out. That would be under like if that law exists, that would have to be tied to the manslayer. When somebody kills somebody either by accident or not, they had to run to the refuge city to be judged, and then they would hear them out. But here, it's kind of like, what did they judge them for here is, I got Nicodemus saying the prophecy, so I guess I do have him as a judge, because he would know the laws and understand the prophecies or whatever's written at that time, the prophecies. Well, so am I making that verse too much my own? I don't think so. I think that this law to prophecies would be discussed, and I just know that there is no law, so it has to be something else that he's got to be saying. So, although, let's see what our laws, our law does not judge a man. Um, Now, I guess I could put the word laws here, but I still need the word not one of his laws. It says we are not to judge. Trying to read this without that. Let me pull it up over here, and so I got something that I can look at real quick here. Um, our law does not judge. Our law does not judge a man unless it first hears from him. Not one of his laws says we are not to judge him. First, okay, I'm getting rid of the word unless. Hmm. Is specifically talking about Jesus at this time. So yeah, I got this right, I guess, with the word laws here. Now, one of his laws says we are not to judge him. First, we should hear from him to know why he is doing as he does. Okay. And again, this goes back so far back, not even in this video, but it has to go back to something Jesus did. I think it was referred to one of the healings that he's done, just one. So they aren't talking about all of them yet. Like I said, this has to be in Jerusalem, so they have to know all about um, his healings and been hearing about them, and all of was from the disciple because we got other texts saying that. That also not from Goliath. Oh, this is just where other people around him saying we searched the prophecies. Well, I had to add the word the prophecies. We searched and see that no prophet is to rise from Nazareth, not Galilee, and it shouldn't be Nazareth. It should be a Zublin. So Zublin has to go here. I know that's not spelled right. This is the correct location because now, like I said, Nazareth is not known as the correct city. It would be from what tribe, and that means that they're not relating to him as a son from David here. So they would be referring from Zublan because a prophet was to rise from Zublan when they checked the books as the prophecies and learn no prophet is to rise from Zublan. Now that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Here, this text, boy, I got this is here. Where's this going to end? How come I don't have it? Wow. It does go on for quite a ways here. I guess it would be easier to try to find it this way. Is it that far? This is 8:11. So these 11 verses, they're saying they found in another text. Now everyone went to his home, but Jesus went to the Mount Olives. Now that's funny. I just had a thought here that I gotta check to make sure. Now, when I've told you before that this is the correct order of the sons being born, and that would mean that this is how they camped around Jerusalem. And when I'm talking about during the celebration time, he would go with his people that would be gathered on what side of the tent. These three here, doing like this, Simon, Judah, and Reuben, they would have been on the south side. These three up here, this is Joseph, would have been on the south side. This means if Jesus from Zebulun, then that means if he was on the east side. That's very curious. That's very That is something I never thought of before. I just realized that when they had it, he was on the Mount of Olives, where he was gathering with his people. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. I've got to look that up. That's very important. That's it's too important not to write down. Because that would that would be very important. Um, Extra knowledge that needs to be taught, and I never even thought about that. That when he's gathering in the congregation, because the word congregation means that they were all there, but they were also living, um, or not living, but when they were to come to, like, for the celebration around the house for our Creator, that's the way the people were to be in the congregation. And when it says their congregation, it would mean their tribe, and they would be there. And from the words here, Jesus is on the east side. And I just want to make sure that later when I'm checking the text, is is that the correct order that's given? And it has to be given in the what our Creator's hidden form, or one of his hidden promises, his hidden formats. Did it reveal it that way in that text? Because if it does, it went over my head until today, and that is quite unique. Why he is staying on in that area. Because you got to remember, there's got to be probably 100,000 people down here at the time, gathering. At least, you know, you even reasonably numbered would be 80,000 come visit. So, um, unique. Anyways, Jesus went to his gate. Yes, he didn't go into the temple. It's not a temple, but he would be teaching at his gate. And this would be on the south side, by the way. And our people came as he taught. So, yes, the scribes and judges brought a woman, okay, caught in adultery, and having set her in front of him, not in the midst, but in front of him, and told him this wife was caught in adultery. Now, it can't be the word woman to be said truthfully. It has to be wife. She has to be a wife of somebody to be caught in an adultery. The word adultery means married to someone, okay, and not obeying that um, togetherness that our Creator wants them to have. So those words have to be white, or it has to be wife all the way through. Should we just command us where she was supposed to stone such a wife? Um, yes, they are supposed to do that. In what will you say? But they can accuse him. I have grounds for accusing him, but they can't accuse him But Jesus stooped down with his finger, he wrote on the ground, on the land. Ground is underneath the land, is understanding what words they used at that time and how they understood the words. You have to learn their meaning for the words. And I know them, so I'm putting them into the text. So he wrote on the land. I think that's easy to see that clean up. And then I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to go any further, but I'm going to stop here. And I'm having a slow day. I'm just not with it here in this video or even the last one. It seems maybe I'm catching a cold or something. I'm just not snappy. My voice is starting to get a little rough. So, okay, next video.